All things continually lead back to serpents, dragons, fairies, Nephilim, and fallen angels.
In the distance looms a mystical mountain.
As Mike Heiser used to say, if it's in the Bible and it's weird, it's probably important.
At its peak, a great fire burns, concealing the Prometheus lens.
This development of this knowledge that's being talked about within the mystery schools.
An ancient artifact said to reveal the hidden truth within a deliberately darkened world.
There's a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world.
Join us as we travel and explore the vast unknown. It's a hero's journey with dragons to slay, damsels to save, and innumerable treasures to hoard. Torches high.
The Smithsonian, they caught wind of a giant skeleton. They would send their agents out to get it.
But it takes courage to move forward, to move out of the shadows, out of the unreality that we think of as reality.
We are all on the hero's journey.
Mankind has been in contact with and influenced by extraterrestrials.
Leave the sentient mound of bull feathers out of it.
You know, look at it from a different perspective.
What is happening? What is up? Hold out your glass because we're about to fill it up. Welcome to the Prometheus Lens Podcast, the place where the conversations are always enlightening. I'm your host, Justin, and here we like to use the allegory of the Prometheus lens to take a second look at everything. Well, if you're within the sound of my voice, this means that you are an all-access pass holder. And from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you so very much joining me on this hero's journey. And we like to get together at least once a month, either have a members chat or a Q&A with some brilliant people. And boy, have we got some brilliant people in the room today. Got some good podcaster friends that joined us today, and for good reason. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Gary Wayne himself. Gary, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing very, very well, and thank you for the terrific introduction, and thinking I can't live up to the introduction, but I'll try and stumble and fumble my way through.
Oh, no, you got this. But I know we had our conversation a while back, and we went through the Epic of Gilgamesh in a two-part series. That got a really good response. But you were now on the heels of your second book. It is now released, the Genesis 6 Conspiracy Part 2. There it is.
There it is.
Well, you want to give us a little synopsis of what we can expect in this book and what rabbit holes that you went down this time?
Yeah, so if people are familiar with Genesis 6 Conspiracy Part 1, that's subtitled How Secret Societies and the Descendants of Humankind Plan to Enslave Descendants of Secret Societies Plan to Enslave Humankind. I'll get it out eventually. If you like that, and if you're intrigued by the title, if you haven't read the book, it is one of the most unique books that's out there. And so it covers so much material that helps you understand the world that we live in ways you haven't even thought about, probably thinking about for most people, that I said I would never write a sequel because I didn't want to be redundant. But what happened sort of on the way to the Colosseum, so to speak, as I'm writing another book, is that so many people from the Christian community, and I'm a Christian, and I wrote the book from Christian biases, but it's designed to sort of get people interested from all walks of life and belief system if they're wondering what's going on in the world. And so they wanted a book that was written directly to them, about them, and go deeper into the Bible than what had ever been done before, because there's not this sort of go-to book, and that's a high standard to try and approach. And so I thought, well, if I did do that, what would I do? And I don't want to be redundant. I covered a lot of material in book one, but when I really started to listen and pay attention to the detail, they want to know what's specifically in the Bible, and in a way. So this book does that. It's written especially for Christians. And there's some overlap and dovetailing into the first book, but it's not really redundant. It's only redundant to the point where if I have to use something from the first book to sort of bridge what I'm talking about, and I'll do the reference back and forth to do that. So this book is as unique as book one, but in a much different way. And so this book does what I think no other book has done in terms of prehistory and prophecy. And A, it's linked them, and B, it goes into it in a way that would be, if someone is familiar with Dr. Heiser, this is Dr. Heiser on steroids and Genesis 6 Conspiracy 1 on steroids.
We're not advocating for the use of illegal drugs here.
No, you do not. I do not want to put you in a meditative state where you might let in a demon. That's not my intent. Just for the record. So good clarification on that. So yeah, so this book is called Genesis 6 Conspiracy Part 2, How Understanding Prehistory and Giants Helps to Define End Time Prophecy. So there's a couple things that I wanted to do in this book. Is I wanted to, explain, the concept of the invisible ones and the visible ones, and that we fight not only flesh and blood, but these angels that are in high and dark places, right? And so that's all New Testament stuff that Christians probably don't know enough about in deep levels. And one of the premises in my approach and everything that I do, other than being a contrarian and measuring everything against the Bible, is that if you want to understand the context of the Bible, you have to understand prehistory. And if you understand prehistory, then you can start to understand end time prophecy, because you're getting a lot of the context in there. So that's what this book does. It has 7 sections. It is shorter than book 1. It's only 84 chapters. And one of the things I've done that's differently on this one is I don't have endnotes. I have footnotes. So there's so much information in the footnotes, and I want people to read what's being said and then can glance down if they want to know where that came from and have more about what may have been said there. And so there's lots of quotes in there. There's a lot of definitions. There's a whole bunch of different things that sort of go into that. So it's all right there for them. And it's designed to give Christians arguments in one location and maybe another one for an extended amount more detail, so that they can easily access for the standard pushback that Christians get from non-Christians and Christians alike as well when you're talking about this kind of genre, prophecy and prehistory. So that's what I did. And so section 1 is about giving you, as a reader, the essential information you need to understand the whole context of the Bible, so that things will start to make sense. So section 1 is, for me, essential reading. You can skip ahead because every chapter is a mini story. It leads into the next chapter, and some of important bits of that will come up as the book unfolds, but because it's a mini story, you can read that and read it in standalone, and each chapter is only about 4 or 5 pages. But I start with, and the section 1 is called Giants, Demons, and Angels. And I named it
Grab them right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning. If you want to know how this world works, how it has worked, what's going on today and what's going into the future, you have to understand who these beings are. So, chapter 1, what I do is to sort of get people challenged in a bit of a controversial way. For a lot of people who say, okay, I'll give it a shot, I'm going to hit them kind of right between the eyes and say, chapter 1 is the days of Noah and Lot. And that's the reference, obviously, in Matthew 24, Mark 13, in the book of Luke, in terms of connecting the days of Noah to the end time signs. And Luke enters in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah with the destruction by fire. And I do that because people say you have to interpret the days of Noah, that comes as a sign that comes after the fig tree generation, as being not a specific generation. So they're trying to redefine what the fig tree generation is, and that it's only the godlessness and violence, without understanding the violence and without understanding the technology and all of the beings that were in place before the flood, and then again shortly after the flood, because it's all the days of Noah. So I go right in there and I put in all the different passages that define that meaning of the days of Noah in the New Testament and the Old Testament, so that you've got it all there. Whether or not you want to accept that in the beginning or not, that's for the reader to decide. But there's all the passages, there's all of the connections, and now you're starting to be prepared for the Old Testament is directly connected to the New Testament and vice versa, because that's the way the Bible works. So then I talk about giants and how we know these are giants. And
They're
I'm
not
going to
kissing cousins.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go into all the detail on it because there's just so much detail. And then I split it out in chapter 3. I'm going to define for everybody Nephilim, Gibborim, and Rephaim as it comes to the giants, so they understand the terms. And then I'm going to go into and define what the demons, devils, and unclean spirits are in the New Testament and show how we see that in the Old Testament and connect that in with the Rephaim and the Nephilim. Then I'm going to do something about the serpent's root that's in Isaiah 14. I won't be forever on the book here. I just want to sort of give you an idea that I'm going to hit in on the bloodlines that people say isn't in the book. And I'm going to connect the serpent imagery to the bloodlines, to the terrible ones. And that gets done there so that people understand that right from Genesis 3:15, early on, right after Edom, there's this seed war that's going on that's going to be taken care of in the end time. And then I'm going to explain a second incursion and how we can get there biblically. I'm still open to the idea of giants surviving somehow, but for the most part, what's written about are the recreation of giants biblically and also elsewhere. There's recreations as well. And the Ugaritic text is something that lines so well up with the Bible in terms of its language and the gods and the Rephaim and so many different things as being part of the covenant land that I start to introduce some of that as a parallel for some of the definitions as well, and then show how that fits perfectly in the Bible. And then I end in chapter 7 on something called the habitation for angels, humans, and demons, which is the Oiketarian concept. And if you don't understand the Oiketarian concept, you don't really even understand the virgin birth.
Now, for those that are not familiar, what is that you just said there, the Oiketarian?
The Oiketarian, yeah.
Yeah, I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah. So this is rooted in Jude 1:6 and 2 Corinthians 5:2, so New Testament understanding for things that is very helpful for us to know what's going on in this world. And so in Jude 1:6 it says that the angels at the time of the flood and the crimes that they did, they left their habitation, and that's the Greek word Oiketarian. And then in 2 Corinthians 5:2 it says the house in heaven. And it means a dwelling place for the spirit. So there's a dwelling place for the spirit in the heaven, and then there's a dwelling place for the spirit in the physical world if you want to interact physically. So angels are spirit beings. They can be here as opalescent beings, but not with that sort of physical, comprehensive interconnection. So they have to take a Oiketarian or a soul and a body. And a soul and a body is of the physical world. And that's why the polytheists don't want to talk about the spirit that comes from heaven.
Are you a member of the All Access Pass yet? If not, what are you waiting for? Join the band of brothers and sisters on this hero's journey. The members community page gets you access to the private community, monthly members chats, and guest Q&As. Also gets you 48-hour early access to all episodes for just $5 a month. The All Access Pass gets you all that, plus exclusive members-only episodes for just $10 a month. If you enjoy the content, this is your way to ensure I get to keep doing this show. This is your way, as a listener, to sponsor the show. So, head on over to PrometheusLensPodcast.com and sign up. Are you a hunter, hiker, prepper, or just someone who likes to enjoy the great outdoors? If you are, you know that good quality gear is hard to come by. Squatch Survival Gear is veteran owned and 100% made in America, baby. And their cryptid-inspired line has you covered. Everything from Sasquatch to Mothman. And whether it's a weekend trip, a day hike, or the ultimate bug-out bag, Squatch Survival Gear has you covered. Head on over to squatchsurvivalgear.com and use the code PLP10 for 10% off store-wide. Hey guys, what's going on? I don't know if you've followed me since the beginning, but the audio and video quality has gotten a lot better in a very short amount of time. Now, I would like to take credit for that, but I just simply cannot. A good friend of mine named Jason has come forward and helped me with this whole process. He's been editing the videos. He's been bringing the audio levels up and equalizing them and compressing them, making everything nice and clear. And it's just been a huge, huge help to me. But, so I want to give him props and thank him personally. And if you have a podcast and you are looking to free up a lot of time and bring the quality of your work up, you need to holler at Jason. He is the man, and he will hook you up. And I'm telling you firsthand, all that extra free time that you're going to have on your hands, you're going to be able to enjoy that with your family, hiking, just whatever, festivities you like to do and enjoy. And it's going to free up more time for you to do the one thing that you love to do, to create content. So I highly recommend you go check out Jason, up your game and your free time. Links will be in the description. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that preview and want to watch or listen to the rest of that episode, head on over to PrometheusLensPodcast.com and sign up for the All Access Pass. For $10 a month, you can help sponsor the show and gain access to a library of shows just like this one that's exclusive to those who help sponsor the show. You also get 48-hour early access to all future episodes, access to a private community, and monthly members chats and Q&As with authors and speakers that's been on the show. We also offer a $5 a month package that gets you everything that the All Access Pass gives except for the exclusive episodes. If you enjoy the content, help us keep the lights on. This is your way of sponsoring the show and be like so many others that have come and joined me on the hero's journey.